energize me when my batteries are low. You bring me comfort because you're there. You are my oxygen, my air. When I was lonely, I would pray for something else. When I am with you, I feel glad to be myself. You are the rainbow, I am the storm. When I am hollow, you are warm. You make me happy. 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 You make me happy.
Welcome, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Predict the Week on 11:11. I'm here, of course, with the fantastic Inbaal.
And I am so proud to be here with Tor James Faulkner on this very, very special day. I'm trying to pull up our logo. There we go. On the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube channel. If you're watching us live, get involved, send us some messages. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're watching us later on, it's great to have you on board.
It is great to have you on board. Thank you to everybody who comes and watches live, and thank you to everybody who watches on demand. And I'd just like to take this little moment to say thank you, because there was such amazing feedback from the launch show. So it's really, really amazing to be back for the second episode, and thank you for all your amazing feedback. We've got a packed show for you this morning. What do we have in store, Inbaal?
We've got a little spiritual chit chat about how our weeks and weekends have been. And since we're all living on the same earth, maybe you've had the same experiences. And then we've got some unbelievable predictions for the week ahead, and yet believable. And then
we're going to be looking at a showbiz news story with a little bit of a spiritual twist, and we'll save that as a little bit we'll save the story as a surprise for later on. And after that, we'll be taking psychic questions from the live chat to give you a free mini reading here on the show. So, Inbaal, how have you been since last week? What have you been up to?
It's actually been such an interesting week for me, because there's something going on in the planets. There's always something going on in the planets. I've got my trusty ephemeris here, and Jupiter, and I've been banging on about it a lot because going on for a few months, Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance, is in Gemini. Gemini is a sign that's not really that bothered about how much money is coming in. Gemini is more bothered about having fun and flying by the seat of your pants. So when we look at abundance and flying by the seat of your pants, what exactly does that look like? Well, let me tell you. So last week was a regular reading for me with, readings and mentoring. I've got like my weekly mentorship, and it's really a lot of fun. But at the same time, obviously we launched, so that was an important thing in the week. I launched a show with Laura Dallaghan on the Thursday. I had it's so fun. I had my regular Bigfoot Outlaw program on the Tuesday night for the US time, so late night for me. And then I stepped in to co-present Althea Jacobs' show. So I was on 4 days in a row. So that's very Gemini. That's, getting to do my hair and getting to show off the camera and getting to share. But at the same time, I also kept having inquiries for like big psychic things, big psychic jobs. And so on the one hand, my diary of what I was actually doing is it's regular, but
Mhm.
on the other hand, and this is Gemini, there's always on the other hand, the things that I'm scheduled to be doing are like humongous and really unusual and really fun. So it's been a real week of two different energies. And I lay right at the door of that Jupiter in Gemini. How was your week?
My week was absolutely fabulous. There was a lot of really unexpected, lovely work things, popping up, lots of really great opportunities. I've also been on camera a lot. I'm sort of sick of the sound of my own voice.
No, I
um,
enjoy it. I'm your
ah,
biggest
thank you.
fan.
Thank you. You are my biggest fan, and I'm your biggest fan. Um,
Oh,
so
thank
yeah,
you.
it's been really, really it's been really busy, really, really interesting, but it's also been a very, very balanced week for me, which for me is slightly unusual, right?
Yeah.
It's been very, very busy with work, very, very good opportunities coming up. But I've also, for at least 2 hours every single day, been able to just sit down and play games with my friends and stuff like that, which for me is very unusual because you know me personally, and Val, you'll know if I'm on the treadmill of work, I'll stay on there until somebody lifts me off and said, right, that's enough. So for it to be balanced um, was very very good, but slightly unusual. And I had lots and lots of lovely readings in the past week as well, and there was this kind of running theme, and this doesn't happen too often, but there was this running theme throughout the week with people asking about big career changes, not just a new job, not just like a promotion, big career changes where it would also require moving to a new city, things like that. So I was wondering, Inbal, have you had similar themes in your readings? And also, is there an astrological reason that so many people would be having such big career shifts at the moment?
Yes. So you're going to be sick of me talking about Jupiter, but it's so funny
No.
because as you're describing it, I don't want to sort of give too many bits of information so that nobody recognizes exactly who it is. But I spoke just over the weekend, Saturday night, to somebody on the other side of the world to me who's just had to move 5,000 kilometers. I don't know if miles is more than or less than. I just know that it's 5,000 kilometers in order to start a job, which was financially a step down from where he'd been before. But there were important reasons for that to happen. So, yes, exactly the same like what you're saying, but also I have got a client who I love so much, and because she is a parent, she can't move far away. So she's really focused on finding a job that's fully remote so that she doesn't have to sort of pop into the office. And there was another person I spoke to who was offered, he's up north here in the north of England. If you're watching if you're watching from the other side of the world, England is not as big as the USA at all. However, it has very difficult transport links, and and the roads are not great, and driving is awful. So he
Comfort
was
it.
no, but we love it. We love it. So pretty. It's green all the time because it never stops raining. Um, so he was offered. He's up north here, and he was offered a job in London, and they offered to pay for him to come to London twice a week. But even just offering to pay rather than finding a way to beam him down was fairly unacceptable on office hours, because even if you've got a smooth road, it's like a 4.5 hour drive. So there has definitely been a bit of a theme, and I still think it's that Jupiter in Gemini, because it's not just Jupiter in Gemini. Oh no, it's Jupiter retrograde in Gemini.
Ooh.
Right. So when you've got the retrograde throwing in, spinning things around, it's being given something that's just out of reach. It's for you, but you can't get it, or it's for you, but you can't get it now. That Jupiter and Gemini will also give you a couple of options. So it can be really devilish in offering you something and you think, wow, that's my opportunity. And then it offers you something at least equal, a little bit better, maybe something that right now you can't tell whether it's better or not better. Oh, look, sorry, I don't want to sort of jump in the middle of the chat, but we actually have a good morning from Nilda from Bronx in New York. It must be 4 a.m. in New York right now. So I beg of you, accept our gratitude for being here and watching. Anyone watching, let us know where in the world you are. And anyone watching later on, jump on when you can. Look, if Nilda did it, yeah, she says, yes, 4 a.m. If Nilda did it, then why not lose up on the valuable sleep hours that you managed to carve yourself and join us as well.
And let us know how your week's been.
Yes, exactly. Has it been the same as ours? Have there been interesting, not to say challenging messages around work? We'd love to hear from you, because knowing how things go in our books and tarot cards and crystal balls, that's very, very exciting. But seeing how it manifests in real life and seeing the real examples of it, it's even better. See, I saw you giggle about crystal ball. And it's plural. I'm holding
beautiful.
Thank you. So yeah, what do you make of this week? Do you feel that this will become a habit? Do you feel that this is how things will keep going, or do you think that we've got a change to come?
I think it's going to be like this for a little while. I think that the opportunities are going to keep coming for people. When I'm doing the readings in my private practice, it seems to be for people opportunity. And as you were saying about the Jupiter energy there, with the Jupiter Gemini energy there's often two things coming along for people. Like, okay, maybe that job didn't work out. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you don't like Sandra at reception, so you don't want to go in. Well, there's another one right there. There's another one right there where you're going to love the receptionist. So that what you were saying was really, really resonating with what's coming up for people that I'm reading for. And I think it's time to start doing the general messages for the week ahead. Would you like to start?
Absolutely. So I'll start with the ephemeris, which is our little sort of rooting in the world, so our little grounding. And we've got some very interesting news coming up for Sagittarians. Yeah, put that coffee down, man. We've got some interesting news for Sagittarians, for Capricorns, and also for Libra and Taurus. So just tomorrow, between today and tomorrow, the planet Venus, which is the ruling planet of Taurus and Libra, planet of love, that planet will be moving from fun-loving, adventurous Sagittarius into disciplined, business-minded Capricorn. So how it's going to influence those signs for both Taurus and Libra, it means that instead of looking for adventure and being bubbly and enjoying I can say the tail end of summer, but the tail end of summer is a distant memory. But Taurus and Libra will have still stayed in that kind of fun-loving vibe. That is coming to an abrupt end, between today and tomorrow. And you're going to start thinking more about savings, about the new job that you want to do from January, about possibly retraining, starting a business. And whereas for Taurus, it's not really that scary of a thought at all because Taurus is an earth sign, just like Capricorn. So they enjoy being grounded and they enjoy having their, having their feet on the ground. For Libra, it might be a little bit less natural because Librans like socializing more than they like the business aspect of things, but it's still, I would say, sort of perfectly manageable. Sagittarius, because Venus is coming out of Sagittarius, Sagittarius will enjoy a little bit less romantic attention. So take that to heart and don't take it personally. It's not you, it's the planets, and the stars. They're taking away your romantic attention. You haven't done anything to deserve it. And Capricorns, on the other hand, will be receiving all the loving attention, which, if I know Capricorns, they will be completely befuddled by it. Capricorns just want to sit down, read their book. Do you know what I mean? Drink their black coffee, no sugar, no cream, and and make plans, make practical plans. And all of a sudden, they're going to be like flavor of the week. Everybody's going to notice them. So for those specific signs, that's how it's going to manifest. For all of us, we will see that our love lives in general become a little bit less excitable, a little bit more about the planning. So if you're looking at family households, nuclear family households, it will be the starting to save up for the holidays, potentially even putting up the tree. There's a good Sagittarian friend of ours who is putting up the tree yesterday. And it will also mean for single people, right, that the next person that you'll be dating could well be one of those lovely wealthy Capricorns. So we took the difficult news and turned it on its head. Wouldn't it be amazing to spend the holidays with somebody who can treat you to lots of lovely stuff?
It would.
Right?
Yeah. Some stuff, some cuddles, filling the stocking on Christmas morning. Absolutely.
You're
I have
outrageous. What predictions have you got for us?
I have the angel number for do you know what? I didn't even mean it to sound like that.
When you're talented, you don't need to mean it. Just it just comes.
I have the angel number for the week ahead, and I promise you, I didn't make this up. When Inbaal and I were having the briefing last night for the show, I was like, "You're never gonna believe the angel number that has come up. It's 11, 11, 1, 1, 1, 1, and of course today is 11, 11. And many people will, they'll be familiar with this number in terms of angels and how it's just such a big number and such an important number for people. People name their businesses after this number. People, make a wish at 11:11 every day. I think we all know somebody who does that. Tattoos,
jewelry.
Yeah. And so, so the number is really, really sort of hand in hand, finger in finger with manifestation. So it's going to be a really good week for planning your manifestation, writing big cosmic orders, doing your happiness banks for your law of attraction, doing your gratitude journals if you're that way inclined. So it's a really good week for planning manifestation. It's also a really good time for taking action. So maybe something has been lingering a little bit. Maybe you've got some kind of offer sitting in the inbox. Maybe you've got an invitation that you've not replied to for, a holiday party or something like that. This is the time to take action on those things. To get them rolling, to get the ball rolling. And it's a really, really good week for things just flowing, just flowing a little bit, calmly, naturally, going at a nice pace. Whereas last week it was the 0330 number, and everything was, coming very quick, not having to do anything, not having to think about it. So it's a little bit of a gentler flow this week and planning, which is interesting because Inbal was talking about planning too. But what people might not know about 11:11, and don't at me, don't at me, It's actually a lot about patience. It's about patience, about having patience, not wanting, not rushing things, not, being like a bull in a china shop, trying to make things happen really, really quickly. It's about self-realization and sort of being self-reliant and doing things for yourself. So again, it's a little bit of a contrast to last week where things were kind of just coming. This week it's planning and looking and, seeking the opportunities, seeking, whatever it is that you want, and actually taking steps to make it happen. But yeah, that patience, and I really, really hate to tell people to sort of have patience and not rush, because I don't like to have patience myself. But if things do feel, again, going back to the flowing part, if things do feel like they're flowing and it's not maybe as quick as last week, that's okay. That's what's supposed to happen this week. So do all your cosmic orders, do all your planning, get all your bits and pieces if you're, the sort of person to do, like a more, a more elaborate ritual for your manifestations. Do you have some cards for us, Inbal? Do you have a general card for us?
In theory, I do. Sorry, I was just sort of so caught up in the fact that you know, it's a similar message. It's a similar message. And the reason Tor is gasping right now, for those of us that are not watching the screen and are just listening, is because Nilda had messaged to say, wow, today is my birthday, 11/11/60. That is
Happy
incredible. And I'm
birthday.
actually moving your message to our readings folder here, and we'll do you a beautiful joint birthday reading towards the end of the show. So what I've got for the week is actually the Princess of Cups. And the Princess of Cups, she's the equivalent to the Page of Cups. So the Princess of Cups says, just go with your heart. Go with your heart, because you have some good clarity about what's coming ahead. So believe that if it feels right, it's right. And if it feels janky, just don't bother with it. That's really, really cool. Go with your basest instincts, with your basest reflexes, and be totally fearless about it, because when you operate from love, you can't lose. How can you possibly lose if you operate from love? So we have this beautiful message. I feel like it still fits with the patience, because when you operate from love, it's not because you need instant results. And we live in this culture where if it's not now, then it's already, not needed, not interested. But I feel like all those readings have pulled us back towards, yes, patience. And then I could see that you've got something very special for us in your hands.
I have a couple of general angel cards for the week ahead. The first one that came up is the Intuition card with Archangel Gabriel. And I always do too, to get, like a fuller picture when it's the, the general cards. And we have Clearing with Uriel. So really, the feeling with this, and I always this card actually reminds me of the Princess of Cups that visually. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it's not, I'm not saying that it looks like it, but it reminds me. It has the same kind of
What
feeling, the
does it
same kind of
carry? I
energy.
don't think I can see. What's in her hands?
I think it's a crystal ball.
Oh, so what we've got here, with this princess, she's holding a shell with, I want to say, a turtle emerging from it, and the shell underneath is like a clam shell, but then the turtle has basically its own shell covering it. And so that is that potential, that the possibilities.
That's beautiful. Thank you for explaining that so well.
Thank you. So the
So
message,
yeah, with these cards, it's the angels are asking us to listen to our intuition, right? It's relatively basic. Listen to our intuition. Have a feel. Everybody, by the way, has some level of intuition. You know when you get that little feeling in your tummy around the solar plexus area, that's actually what we call in law of attraction circles your internal guiding mechanism. That's there for a reason. So if you're going into a situation and that's making you feel a little bit sick, that's, that's a no way. That's telling you, you need to get away from that situation. You need to move away from that situation. If you're going into a situation and it gives you those lovely butterflies, maybe it's a romantic situation and you're having your first kiss and it's all those lovely butterflies, that's good. That's good. And it may take a little while to sort of determine the difference, but that's there for a reason. That's your internal guiding mechanism. So listen to that this week. And the clearing message is literally clearing. Who's not, who's a naysayer in your life? Who's texting you horrible things at 2 a.m., right? Who is saying, oh, you can't do that if you say you want to be, the next Celine Dion? Block, delete, goodbye, out of your life. That's really, really the message with that. So listen to yourself, listen to your own intuition, and clear out people, things, anything that's basically a naysayer, that's an obstacle. Okay, so
that's
clear them
such
out.
a fabulous message.
So again, it really again ties into that planning that keeps coming up, because when we clear out energetically, we're making way for new things. If we have a physical clear out, so maybe you get rid of some old stuff around your room, around your house that you don't want anymore, that lets the energy flow around easier, which also helps to bring in new things. So yeah, it really does keep coming back to that planning, doesn't it, Inbal?
Absolutely. And I think a big part of planning is removing obstacles such as naysayers, which is, such an energetic obstacle. So these are kind of all the different aspects of putting a good plan in place, starting from Capricorn being the planner and no messing around, going on to patience and how crucial patience is when planning. If you're going to plan the best plan in the world and not give it a chance to manifest and to come together, how is it going to happen? You've got to have that intuition, that faith, that belief, and you also have to recognize and identify things that interfere with your plan and see them for what they are, obstructions and unnecessary in your life. And
Yeah.
I think we've got quite an important distinction here between the sort of kindness and gentleness of the message, but also between the sort of taking no nonsense. Just because you're spiritual, just because you're intuitive, doesn't mean that you're going to let people take the mickey. It doesn't mean that you're going to allow blocks and backchat and negativity around you. No, we all have a block button, some of us in real life.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes as well with spiritual people, and I'm completely generalizing here. I think sometimes with spiritual people, they can be a little scared to hit the block button or to tell somebody, no, I'm not having your nonsense, because often spiritual people are very empathetic and frightened of hurting somebody's feelings, even if they're hurting the spiritual person's feelings.
Yeah,
Um, they don't want to hurt people, but it's really okay and it's really important to have a level of protection. It's really okay and really important to put somebody on the block list if they're bringing a toxic feeling, bringing a toxic environment to your life. So don't be scared to put up the boundaries. Don't be scared to hit block, because if you keep letting that, naysayers and stuff in, they're not going to care down the line, but you will, because you'll be the one who who's affected. So please hit block when and if needed.
Absolutely. And when you're thinking, I don't want to upset that person is upsetting you, then you're prioritizing their needs over yours. And I don't mean it in a selfish way, but I was explaining it to a client this week just gone. And she said it's funny because her therapist used to say something and it hit home immediately. You're going to love it. Her therapist used to say, you've got to release your own parachute first. If
Right.
everybody's sort of falling out, you've got to release your own parachute first. And, I I existed through Gulf War, where we were threatened with chemical weapons. Chemical weapons never came, but we all had gas masks. And the messages on TV would flash, put your gas mask on first. You've got to put your mask on first and then take care of others. You've got to put, and it's funny, it's not funny. My mom never watched those things, so she didn't even know how to put her gas mask on, and she didn't know how to take you get like a stopper, like a lid, didn't know how to take that off. So she kind of managed to put it on, but didn't know how to take the stopper off. So she's there. But because my gas mask was on, I could release her stopper. So that's the thing. When you're prioritizing somebody else, you could be prioritizing them while putting them at risk because you're not fully engaged to be able to help them at a much more, useful level. We've got Aisha saying hello and saying, can I ask a question?
Aisha.
Absolutely, Aisha. We're going to do all the questions in about 10 minutes. So for the moment, I'm just putting the message asking for a question in our question folder in the studio. But if you want to send a specific question, I'll put that in the question folder instead. There's only Nilda. There's only one ahead of you. So you're going to get your question for sure. I think we've managed to put through 3, maybe 4 questions last time, something like that. So there's still plenty of scope. Which brings us that negativity and that sort of rejection of negativity brings us to our topic today, which I'm unbelievably excited about. So did you want to present it?
I'm really excited about it too. So let me bring up the slide here. So Pamela Anderson has been making headlines recently because she's standing firm with her no makeup stance. She's not been wearing makeup for a really long time, but she's back in the headlines with it at the moment because she's promoting stuff and she's talking about it again. And from what I can gather, this is for Pamela part of a sort of huge lifestyle change. She's making lots of changes to her lifestyle. She's spending a lot more time in nature. She's become vegan. She's doing all these things, to help herself. And, with bringing out, her vegan cookbook and stuff, she's trying to help and empower other people. But I think standing strong with this no makeup stance, particularly in this day and age of, everybody is walking around with, a film studio in their pocket, basically, where it's very hard to, not have filters and stuff on. I think taking this stance and being so firm with it is really, really strong and really, really powerful and really, really relatable. What do you think about this, Inbal?
When that Pamela Anderson phenomena had just started, I adored it. I absolutely loved it. So we've got to frame it with the fact that she is obviously one of the most beautiful women in the world, and that for her, maybe it's a little easier than it is for other people because she does have that classic beauty, and a lot of her beauty markers are the beauty markers that are favored within the beauty industry and the film industry. But she's also entering that age range where women, some men, where women become invisible, where she might have been passed on for roles, where she might have, lost her contracts and beauty promotions, and to take that and do the exact opposite to
Yeah.
going the way of chasing that impossible beauty, that impossible youth. It absolutely blew my socks off. I adore it. Now, don't think I'm anti-men when I say that I love it when women do phenomenal things. And in her world and in that industry, it was
Mhm.
really a phenomenal thing. Now, I wrongly assumed that it was maybe just a one-off. Maybe she did that for like one red carpet, for one promotion, for attention. I can't believe I thought that. But now it must be a couple of years in, and
Yeah.
she is still, if anything, even more glowing, even more
Mhm.
stunning. But I know that for you, it was a real personal moment to see that change, to see that trend.
It was, and I'm genuinely trying not to get emotional about it. I'm already sort of holding a few tears back. I grew up in show off business. I grew up in the pop industry. I was a child performer. I don't like to say child star, where you are manicured within an inch of your life, right? You're manicured within an inch of your life. And often these decisions are not yours to make. Somebody else will be making them for you. Somebody else will be doing the makeup. Somebody else will be doing the hair. And every single pop star, every single singer who's in that industry, who's on stage, and of course, actors and stuff too. But my main experience was, pop singing. Um, is manicured within an inch of the life. Even all the boys, all the men, that you've had posters of on your wall, all were, caked in makeup that somebody else decided in. So when I was promoting my album, The Reflection, and part of that album's campaign was to raise awareness for eating disorders, right? Um, I felt like it was important to keep the makeup off, make sure that there was a no airbrushing policy, um, so that people could see in a way like what real people looked like. And having spent so many years in front of the camera, in fact, I say in front of the camera, there was a really long time where I wouldn't even pop to the local shop without a full face of makeup because I was so used to
Mm,
being seen with makeup, which is completely disgustingly unhealthy, right? To not
yeah.
even feel like I could go to the shop without a full face of makeup. So when we were doing the shoot for The Reflection, no makeup. And what made it even better was on the way to the shoot, we shot this in the what's it called? It's one of the big museums in Liverpool, the World Museum, something like that, World History maybe. Um, I got completely drenched on the way to the shoot, so you can see that my hair's not even done, no makeup, anything at all. And of course, the reflection. It was called The Reflection because not everybody with an eating disorder, but a lot of people with an eating disorder also is coupled with a level of body dysmorphia. So the kind of concept of the picture was I'm looking in the mirror and I see a fish. Um, you know,
And what a fish. Like this
what a
this fish
fish.
is like fancy. This fish is extra. This fish wakes up in the morning and he's not thinking, am I looking too plain?
No, he was really cooperative, by the way. He was really into the photo shoot and everything. He was absolutely lovely. But yeah, so when seeing oh, yeah, seeing Pamela Anderson go completely, makeup free and be so open about it and stuff, it kind of just it really spoke to my heart. It was just, and I hope that other people in, media and stuff kind of follow suit because I think it sets a really good example. And that's not to say that people shouldn't wear makeup or use filters or anything, everything like that. People need to do what they need to do to feel comfortable, in themselves. Um, you have some Pamela astrology, don't you, Inbal,
I
for us?
I do, because that was another thing when she first sort of stepped out with that no makeup. I was like, well, yeah, a Cancerian, yeah, of course, it would start with a Cancerian because Cancerians are more about the family, more about being at home, more about just sort of being themselves and being accepted for who they are. So what was actually interesting in the first place is that Pamela Anderson was in such a visual industry in the first place. So the combination that she's got there is of being Cancerian, so home loving, all about sort of family, hosting intimate dinner parties, but having Gemini ascendant. So her rising sign is Gemini, which is obviously sort of much more thrilled, much more excitable. And then, and this to me is very interesting. So we've got the, sorry, I want to point in the right direction. There. So we've got her chart on. And this is something that's a little bit complicated for me to explain, but a lot of times when people were made for fame, when they're built for fame, all of their planets get bunched together, which hers are not. And usually, in my experience, they get bunched together in the kind of top right-hand corner. And that part of her chart is almost empty. And so fame means nothing to her. What this chart tells us is that for her, fame was just, you know, a way to pay the bills. So I'm also looking at where her Venus is. So her Venus sign, which is love and beauty, is it's the pink planet that we see on the outside at the bottom left-hand corner. And Venus, love, and Jupiter, money, are actually quite close together. That's the greenish one that looks like the number 4. And both of them are in Leo. And Leo needs to take charge. Leo needs to take control. And what this tells us is that when she felt a certain loss of control, where she was no longer in charge of what her features were doing, which can be a very confusing time for anybody going through the aging process, which is all of us who are lucky enough to, you know, to get to an age where the aging process doesn't leave us alone. So the loss of control, that Venus in Leo, the loss of control, reinforced her need to take control over her beauty. And this is the way that she chose to take control. And in an interesting way, because her ascendant is Gemini, she may have looked at 2 options. And those 2 options might have been going all out and augmenting and modifying and changing in one way, or taking control by stripping every last shred of makeup off, putting some good moisturizer on, and stepping in front of the camera. And she's clearly made that choice. And because beauty and money are so close together in her chart, when she was that gorgeous Dolly Bird and her earnings were linked together with her beauty in a very obvious way, that has clearly not changed, because now she still has cosmetics campaigns. It's just that those cosmetic campaigns are more about the moisturizer, I suppose. You know, babe, the moisturizer, designer moisturizer is still very expensive. They're earning well off the back of her. So beauty and money are still linked in her chart. You can't unlink them. They formed on the day that she was born. Did you know she was, because Pamela Anderson is Canadian, did you know she was the first baby born on Canada Day in her year? So she was in the paper
I did
as
not
a baby.
know that.
Yeah, I think that's so adorable. And it's really such a Cancerian story.
It is.
And actually, so we're going to go into questions in a minute, but in 1960, I want to get the year right because she was, no, 67. But yeah, so she was in the paper in 67 because Canada Day is July 1st. She was born in July 1st. Yeah, at 4 a.m. So she was, I don't know if she was the first baby to be born like in all of Canada, if that was like in her county and it was like the local paper, but there's still like a very adorable picture of a very, very cute little Pamela Anderson that was born. But yeah, have you got anything wisdomous to share with us about it?
Well, I don't have time to go into I don't have time to go into all of it. I did have a little look at her numerology. Her main number is 4, so she's very, very hardworking, very empathetic. Um, and her soul number is a 7, which actually brings up some contradictions, which you kind of touched on with the astrology. So her astrology and her numerology really, really match up, which was the same with the people we were looking at last week too. Their numerology and their astrology really matched up, which I always
Yeah.
find really, really interesting when there's those parallels. But there's a couple of contradictions here. So one of the things is that she is basically an extrovert, but but in other parts of her numerology chart, she really likes to keep herself to herself. So it is very much that, like, I think together it's that kind of thing of like, well, I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to be in show business, but I'm going to do it my way. And I think that that's really, Pamela to a T.
Absolutely. And I think even just like if you remember from, was it the 90s, early 2000s when she had her babies, and she was in the most sort of well covered, well documented marriage, and her entire image was about having this absolute sort of knockout figure and, unbelievable look. And then she went and had 2 babies back to back, which is, not necessarily in keeping with the image obsessed industry. And in a way, I think that represents exactly that dichotomy that that you mentioned. And there's also kind of the closing of a circle, because she was, to my memory, the first really openly and proudly augmented celebrity out there. When her figure debuted on Baywatch, I had to do the run to remember the name for a second. When her figure debuted on Baywatch, a lot of the viewing audience had not seen an augmented body before, to their knowledge. And for her to have had such an interesting start in that way, and to have the exact flip of fame / notoriety for being entirely natural now, I think creates such a beautiful cycle of becoming, where on the one hand it looks really opposite, just like her Gemini ascendant and her Leo sign, just like the 4 and the 7, but in fact they fit together just fine, because humans are complicated, and that's really cool.
It is really cool. It is really cool. And we are complicated, and we are all just kind of pieces of, a jigsaw puzzle. And sometimes you have to smush them together, but it works. It's always going to work, because we're all, completely individual and completely perfect in our own way.
Absolutely. Trista has popped in to say hello, and she said happy birthday to Nilda, and she's saying happy Veterans Day to all our US military. Thank you, all of you, for your service. It's also Armistice Day here in the UK, where we commemorate the end of World War I. So the 11/11 vibe has been celebrated for I want to say 106 years now. So it's not new. The New Age movement is really the Old Age movement. So we've got a couple of readings that we're going to do. We want to do them side by side.
Of course, side by side.
That's the funnest. So we've got Nilda, who says, "Wow, today is my birthday, 11/11/60. What a brilliant date." It's one of those dates that, when because in America and then in Europe we write the dates differently.
Mhm.
And so, when you get like a reading request from the US and you don't know whether 3/4 means the 3rd of April or the 4th of March, you
Yeah.
guys are our favorite clients, because when we see 11/11, we know it's the 11th of November. No extra questions are needed. Have you got some cards for Nilda there?
I've got little angel card here, and it's the prayer card with one of the angel names that I cannot say, so I'm not going to butcher it. But if you can,
Oh,
anybody
yeah,
can read it and make it out.
Sandalphon. It's exactly what it's exactly what it sounds. So sandal, like a sandal that you put on your foot. Like what Crocs were before they were Crocs. Other sandals are available. And fun like phonetic.
Ah, thank you. So we've got the prayer card for you here, and it's really a perfect card for your birthday. I know it might seem a bit silly, but it's the perfect card for your birthday because they're asking you to make a wish. The angels are saying, make an 11/11 birthday wish. We're going to bring it to you. You're going to have a really, really good year ahead. It feels like a very, very positive, year ahead for you, time for you. I don't know if this is going to make any sense at the moment, but I'm feeling very relaxed as I go into the year ahead. When I look into your past energy, I'm feeling a little bit tensed up like this, like I'm sort of a little bit on edge or a little bit expecting something, just something. But as we go into your future year energy, I'm relaxed and I'm going, this is really, really nice. I'm seeing actually as well, um, being able to spend time doing things as you go through this year. Like things that you really like, things that you're gonna really, really enjoy. You also, I feel, you don't think it's happened yet, but I feel like you've got some birthday surprises coming up. I don't know if it's family or friends or both, but something really nice. Something really nice. There's a really nice surprise there, which I know sounds a little bit vague, but that's what they're giving me. And just with the tarot as well, just to kind of back up the Make a Wish, we have the Princess of Earth there. Again, a little bit about planning. So have a little think about the year ahead. Okay, so have a little think. What do you want to happen in this next year of your life? And just to reinforce that some more, we have the Magician there. So again, planning, manifesting. Your reading really ties in lovely with the general readings. Let's see what Inbal has.
Right. So your birthday cards, Nilda, are the Lovers, great start, the Fool, which is not foolish at all, and the Ten of Cups. Those three cards, each individually, are such beautiful cards because they bring you long-lasting messages. The first one, the Lovers, says love will always be there, even if you have to make tough choices. So if you have to choose one over another, that's really, really cool, because you're not going to choose wrong and you're not going to be left without. And that's really important for you to remember, that if you think, well, what if I say no to something? Doesn't it mean that I'm then alone, or then I'm then lonely, or forgotten? And that will not happen. In fact, the more you clear out the wrong people in your life, the more you're going to be able to welcome in the right people. You'll have more space in your heart. You'll have more positivity to welcome everybody that deserves your compassion and presence. And then the Fool is calling on you to travel. Have you done traveling yet, Nilda? Because I want to see you on a plane. I want to see you on a train. I want to see you in an Uber. I want to see you traveling. It says that there are still so many more adventures for you to take. And I know that you're there so dedicated to others and so devoted. Take them with you. They can pay their own way, though, because you need some more adventures. And finally, this shows how important family is to you and how important it is for you to sort of keep all the important people close by, but they're there anyway. So really what it shows me is that you worry about a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to happen
That would
instead
explain
of
the tenseness and the
right,
yeah.
exactly. Sort of resisting change just in case things are going to fall to pieces. Whereas there is absolutely zero indication, also in the tarot, but fine, this is, you know, this I'm far away, but also in your close surroundings, there is zero indication that anything wrong, that anything bad is going to happen. It's just that you're very, very concerned. So that was the reading. Nilda's already sent in the feedback and saying my mom is staying with while she transitioned. All I want for my birthday is my mom to go in peace. Yes, I do need to travel. If anyone is watching, why don't we all join together? I'm going to call it a prayer, but it doesn't have to be a prayer if you're not praying. Connect your energy, manifest, and send the vibe to Nilda's household together that her mom's transition is peaceful, empowering, and inspirational for everybody around, where no pain is felt, where closeness and a divine spark is shared by all. Thank you, Nilda. And you say the whole podcast makes sense. Thank you so much. That's so exciting to share that moment with you. And we'd love to stay on top of it. Yes, Tor.
Yes. Putting my hand up like a cheeky little school person.
School babe.
I just wanted to say, I'm not sure if your mother is able to articulate properly at the moment, but I want you to know that even if she's not, or even if she can't say in some way, she is extremely, extremely thankful and grateful for everything that you're doing for her at the moment. And when she thinks about you, the amount of love that comes from her in your direction is absolutely, you know, there's not a word for it. There's not a word for the love that's coming from her to you. So even though it's a little bit tricky at the moment, sweetheart, she's very, very grateful for everything, you know, that you're doing for her. So thank you so much for trusting us with you know, your birthday reading. Mwah.
Thank you for sharing, and have a happy birthday despite the difficulties. Thank you so much. And Nilda says, I feel the love.
So glad.
Trista enjoys it, saying beautiful. And Crystal Rose has joined us from here in the UK. People are starting to wake up. Nature is healing. Crystal Rose, would you believe that everybody else on at the moment is in the US, where it is now 5 a.m. I think in New York. And
yeah.
would it be something like 2 a.m. on the other side? Is it like 2 a.m. in California?
I think so.
One last question just before we finish today's show. Aisha is asking about Zaid Mahbub, saying it's an arranged marriage proposal. What are his feelings?
Let's have a look.
Shall I whip out a tarot card and you see what you've got there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because look, he doesn't know yet. He doesn't know if he's got feelings. He knows that logically you fit. He looks at it in a really sort of sensible way. He believes that you're around the same level of education, you've got similar values, you've got similar ideas around family, and he's excited to get to know you. It's kind of, you know, a big decision, the biggest decision you would make in your life. But I feel like Zaid is not connected with the love energy yet. He's trying to connect with the arranged energy and see whether it makes sense to him or not. And in his mind, your idea, you tick all the boxes, is what he says. I will speak in his favor to say that he is an honest young man. He has strong ambitions, and his ambitions include you and any babies that this could produce. He is family minded. He wants to be, like, honesty is really big with him, but he wants to be honorable. I've got for Zaid. What have you got there, Tor? I could see you nodding.
Yeah, because we have that practicality here with the Six of Fire that you were already talking about, that he wants to take the steps with you. He wants to go through this with you, and he really hopes with the Sun card here that you'll make each other happy. Again, there's no romantic feelings coming up at the moment, but again, we have the intellectual side of this from the angels. We have the enlightenment and inspiration cards, really just backing up what Inbal was saying, that he feels like you're on the same level, like you can have really good conversations, that you can learn from each other. And there's an excitement with this. Okay, so the romantic feelings haven't clicked in yet, but there's an excitement with it. He wants to have this experience with you, and he wants to see it through and go ahead. And again, as Inbal said, he's very, very family minded, respects his family, wants to make more family. So yeah, so it looks really, really good. It looks really, really good. And they're saying in my ear, there is a big, strong chance that the romantic side of it will kick in eventually. So it's really, really good. Good luck with that, Aisha.
Fabulous. You know, one of the most emotional songs that makes me cry without fail is the Do You Love Me from Fiddler on the Roof, which is a song about an arranged marriage. And this is like, 20, 30 years down the line. And the husband sort of turns to her and says, Golde, do you love me? And she calls him all names. What do you mean, do I love you? And she lists all the different ways where she had been loyal to him. For 25 years, I starve with him. For 25 years, my bed is his. If that's not love, what is? And the love grows. Arranged marriages have been the way forward for thousands of years. I don't think they're necessarily any less successful, and I think historically more.
I was going to say, I think they're actually more successful than if you just marry someone from the pub. So
yeah, exactly. From Tinder. Exactly. So if you need the inspiration, Aisha, pop onto Fiddler on the Roof and check out the Do You Love Me song, but don't share it with me because I may go to pieces. I'm struggling to keep myself together now. I do the whole movie, but the love, it really sort of speaks to my Pisces heart. Right, we had one last message from Trista, who says 4 a.m. in Tennessee. Thank you guys for spending the small hours with us, and I really, really hope you have an amazing week. Any final insights, Tor, before we sign off for a week?
just remember to do your planning. Know that what you want to happen is coming. Know that even if you don't necessarily believe in them, the angels are with you always. We all have angels around us. And thank you for joining us, and have a fantastic week. And we'll see you next Monday.
Oh, do you know what? I just want to mention before we leave that if you're looking for either of us, if you have to get in touch, if you want to hear from us before, our details are scrolling at the bottom. So we are both on Instagram. Tor is on Tor James Faulkner. Inbal is on Inbal Psychic. And we would love to hear from you. Have an amazing week. Thank you for being with us.
guides me when my